Welcome back. Today, I'm breaking down 6 essential techniques with examples on how to write a good plot for your stories. Let's dive in. Tip 1. Start with a strong conflict. Here's the fundamental formula. Character plus goal plus obstacles equals a plot. If your character wants something and gets it immediately, you don't have a story, you have a brochure. The best stories layer 2 types of conflict. First, there's internal conflict. What is the character fighting within themselves? Maybe it's a fear of failure or a crisis of identity. Second, there's external conflict. What's stopping them in the physical world? This could be a rival, a ticking clock, or yes, even a literal dragon. But here's the key. That external obstacle must be formidable. If the hero can just walk around the dragon, there's no drama. The dragon must be blocking the only bridge. Your plot goes from good to great when the external conflict forces the character to face their internal conflict. Let me give you an example. Imagine a young detective who wants to solve a mystery. The external conflict? The clues lead directly to their own best friend. The internal conflict? A deep need for loyalty versus a need for the truth. Now the detective has to decide if being right is worth losing a friendship. That's a compelling plot. Tip 2. Master the structural milestones. Structural milestones are the rhythm of your story. Without them, your book feels like a random walk. Things happen, but they don't feel like they're leading anywhere. Most successful stories follow the 3-act structure. Think of these as the pillars holding up your bridge. In Act 1, you have the inciting incident, the event that disrupts your character's normal life. Then comes plot point 1, the point of no return, where the character commits to the journey. Act 2 brings us the midpoint, a major shift where the stakes are raised or a secret is revealed. This is where the hero stops reacting and starts acting. Finally, Act 3 delivers the climax, the final showdown where internal and external conflicts collide, followed by the resolution, the new normal that shows how the world has changed. When you use these milestones, you never have to worry about what happens next. You just look at your roadmap. Take a look at the Hunger Games example on screen. These milestones map out a clear path where the hero's goal evolves, transforming Katniss from a girl simply trying to save her sister into a rebel who fundamentally changes her world. Tip 3. Focus on causality. This is the best advice for avoiding a sagging middle. Never connect your scenes with and then. When you use and then, the scenes are disconnected. Instead, use therefore or but. Therefore creates a chain reaction and ensures that your hero's choices actually matter. But provides the complication, the obstacle that prevents success from being too easy. Compare these 2 approaches. The first approach sounds like a list, while the second one sounds more like a story. A pro tip is, if you get stuck in the middle of your book, look at your last 3 scenes and ask, is this scene a consequence of the previous one? Does this scene make the next one harder? If the answer is no, you've found the leak in your plot. The Hunger Games demonstrates perfect causality. See how the example on screen shows that every action forces the next. In a causal plot, the ending is only possible because of the beginning. Tip 4. Raise the stakes. If the cost of failure stays the same throughout the book, your reader will get bored. Think of it like a video game. Level 1 is a minor inconvenience, but by level 10, the entire world is on fire. To keep readers invested, the cost of failure must increase as the story progresses. Ask yourself, what happens if the protagonist fails? Can I make the situation worse? You can use the boiling frog method of incremental escalation. You don't start with the world ending, you start small. For example, Stage 1, you're late for a test. Stage 2, if you miss the test, you fail the class. Stage 3, if you fail the class, you lose your scholarship. Stage 4, if you leave school, you can't help pay for your grandmother's medical bills. Suddenly, a late for a test story is actually a survival of my family story. Here's a pro tip. If your plot feels thin, take away the character's biggest advantage. Break the archer's bow. Have the mentor get kidnapped. Make their friends stop believing in them. When the hero has no help, the cost of failure feels much higher because they have no safety net. When thinking of specific stakes to add in a story, there are generally 3 types. Personal stakes involve self-worth or love. External stakes involve freedom or safety. Moral stakes involve betraying their values. A good plot tries to hit all three types of stakes simultaneously. Take a look at the example on screen. Because these stakes hit simultaneously, there is no easy way out. If it were just external, he might just run away. If it were just personal, he might just have a talk with his brother. And if it were just moral, he could just change his mind. He might tell himself it's not a big deal, or everyone lies sometimes, and go on with his day. Because it is all three, the reader is desperate to know, who is Leo really? What will he choose? Bonus tip: at the end of every chapter, ask the so what question. If my character gives up right now, so what? If the answer is nothing much happens, your stakes are too low. Tip 5. The ticking clock. The ticking clock is one of the most effective tools for fixing a boring plot. If your story feels like it's dragging, it's usually because the characters have too much time to sit around and think. A ticking clock forces them to act now. This doesn't have to be a literal bomb. It can take several forms. The literal clock: a race ends at noon. The portal closes at sunset. The closing space: in the Hunger Games, the game makers shrink the arena, forcing tributes closer together. The competitor: someone else is going to get the prize first. The physical decay: the hero is poisoned and needs the antidote. When you add a clock, you automatically increase tension. Without a clock, a character can fail and go home for a nap. With a ticking clock, if they fail, they've lost precious time, and they can't get that time back. Tip 6. The surprising, yet inevitable ending. This is the holy grail of plotting. If you pull this off, your reader will immediately want to go back to page 1 to see all the clues they missed. If an ending is just surprising, it feels like a cheat. If it's just inevitable, it feels predictable and boring. You need both. A great plot twist or ending shouldn't come out of nowhere. It should be hidden in plain sight. You want your reader to gasp, then immediately think, "Of course, I should have seen that coming." This is achieved through foreshadowing, planting small seeds early on that only bloom at the end. Anton Chekhov said, "If you hang a pistol on the wall in the first act, it must go off in the last." This works both ways. Don't include irrelevant details that go nowhere. And don't have the hero suddenly find a magic potion in the final battle if we didn't know it existed in Chapter 1. The best way to foreshadow is to hide the clue in a moment of action or emotion. Give objects or dialogue two meanings. The first meaning is the disguise. The reader thinks it's just world building or a joke. The second meaning is the truth. In the climax, it's revealed to be the key to the whole mystery. Take a look at the table on screen to see how this might work when writing your story. An example of a good ending is in the Hunger Games, where Katniss doesn't win by being the best fighter. She wins by making a choice the villains didn't expect: the berries. And that moment works because everything that came before it, her survival skills, her defiance, her fake romance strategy, made that ending possible. Here's a plot formula that works every time. Someone wants something, something blocks them, they try and fail, things get worse, they change, final confrontation, and then the outcome. Think of Spider-Man. Peter Parker wants to impress Mary Jane and buy a car, but he's a broke teenager. He uses his new powers to enter a wrestling match for cash, but gets cheated. In anger, he lets a thief escape, who then kills Uncle Ben. Peter realizes that with great power comes great responsibility and stops using his powers for money. He faces the Green Goblin and saves the day, but realizes being a hero means sacrificing his normal life. A good plot is a chain of cause and effect, where every choice creates consequences and pushes the story forward. The strongest stories make those choices matter by stacking personal, external, and moral stakes, so the ending feels inevitable rather than convenient. That's all from us today. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel for more lessons and ideas. See you next time.